You are now listening to the Warp World Podcast. Boom shakalaka.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I don't know why. Our count is getting really slow. Like, it's getting really, really slow.
It's a 5-second count at this point.
I honestly actually went 3. Like, I almost said 5 for some stupid fucking reason. Like, I've never said 5 before.
All right.
Are we still recording?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Just still record. That's fine. Someone will edit this out. This is a live Twitch only moment. You know, like
This won't even make the YouTube.
No.
Ready.
Welcome everybody to episode 107 of the Warp World Podcast. I'm Grant Poober. Joining me this week and every week, of course, we have Xwater.
That's me.
And Yaku.
Hello from
He's
Vegas.
French. Yes, he's French now. Yes, Yaku is in Vegas. He's just the world traveler this year. But also joining us, we have a very, very, very special guest. I'm super personally excited about this because I'm a huge fan personally. I know the other two guys are as well. But also the timing of this is really great. We have 120 star Super Mario 64, one of the most hallowed records in speedrunning, the world record holder, right here on the Warp World Podcast today. Welcome everybody, Cheese 05, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause. Big round of applause right there. Yeah.
Even though there's no 05 anymore.
I had that ready.
Yeah. So, Cheese, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm great. And I have seen this podcast and I always tell myself this would be a cool place to be one day. So finally.
Oh, you know what? That's the
you
best.
made it.
The best way to do it. Yes. You know what? That's what you do when you go on a podcast. You're always like, I really love the show. Like,
I love the show.
That's the way you play it, man.
Happy to be
move.
here.
Yeah.
Love the show. So glad to be on. It only took you to get a world record to be on, though. So anyone can do it.
As if he
I
hasn't
feel like you've
had
gotten
it
the world record at least like 3 or 4 times since the show started.
A lot more than that, too. I think it's over 10 times, which is actually crazy.
That is crazy.
Wow.
That's a lot of times.
Well, let's talk. Before we jump into the world record, let's maybe kind of bring it back to get to know Cheese himself.
To 2005.
I mean? Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
how long have you been speedrunning, and how long have you been, when? Let's just start. How long have you been speedrunning?
2014. April 2014 is when I officially started my speedrunning endeavors.
And what made you get into it?
Right. So me and my brother were always gamers, and we were always Nintendo boys, and only only Nintendo. I have never owned a console apart from Nintendo, ever. I'm a pure.
Wow.
So
Dude,
when I was 5 years old,
it's great.
Don't do it. Don't give in.
When I was
Keep that record.
4 or 5 years old, it's 4 or 5. We got our NES, and then we got the SNES. And then it was N64 after that. Then GameCube, Wii U, like all of it. And
Typical
that was it.
Regression, yeah.
Yeah, nothing apart from that. It's only Nintendo. I grew up with Nintendo, Mario, Luigi. That was it. That's me. Needless to say, when people talk about games like Undertale, Earthbound, and Chrono Trigger, I'm lost. And like I was playing a ROM hack today earlier on my stream, and they had music from these games like Undertale and Chrono Trigger, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, Undertale!" And I'm just like, "What are you guys talking about? I have no idea." I don't know these songs.
It's on the Switch. It's on a Nintendo console. You can play it.
Yeah, that's the thing. But all
Mario
the
and
games,
Luigi's
it was Earthbound on Nintendo. Was Earthbound?
Super Nintendo.
Super
Earthbound,
Nintendo.
yeah.
Super Nintendo.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it actually? Okay.
That's actually a
happened on a
Nintendo first party game, actually. So that's
Oh, that
made
is
by
actually.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Okay, so then that just happened to be a game that I unfortunately didn't play. Okay, well then, not only am I only Nintendo, I'm only Mario.
Only Mario.
Yeah.
It's only Mario.
Didn't
That's my
pick
whole
up the
life.
GameCube till Sunshine came out.
Mario and Zelda.
Yeah.
But to add on to the speedrunning thing, my brother and I found out about speedrunning in 2012. The way that most people have found out about speedrunning, watching Narcissa Wright's GDQ run of all Dungeons OT, and or seeing TAS runs of Mario on YouTube, and everyone thinking TAS is a human, and we're like, how is this possible?
Yeah, that's just the guy's initials.
Yeah, it's insane. But 2013, my brother started speedrunning. My brother used to be a hardcore speedrunner.
Oh, okay.
Cheezo 6.
What games did your?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the name?
Cheezo 6.
Yeah.
2013.
I'm assuming the same games and everything too, right?
No, actually. He was mostly Zelda. He started with Zelda Majora's Mask, and he practiced the heck out of Majora's Mask. Never did a run. He practiced the heck out of the game and was like, I want to speedrun Sunshine instead. And he did Sunshine for a while. He was actually 10th place in Sunshine back in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah, back when the world record was 131 by Samurai Man. I remember because we used to watch Samurai Man all the time. He was like one of like, oh my God, Samu has the world record in Sunshine. And my brother had a 144 at the time when Gelato Skip was just found. And then as soon as that happened, he stopped running SMS. He went on to Link Between Worlds and was speedrunning that game for a while. And then this whole time I was like, oh, I love speedrunning. And I was like those typical viewers that always say, oh, I love speedrunning, but it looks too scary. I don't want to play. I'm not going to be good kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Tried running OOT first in 2013. I'd spend one day trying to learn tricks in Kokiri Forest. And I was like, this game is too scary. I don't know how to do these glitches. A year later, I'm watching Punke beating Siglemic, and I'm like, this is so cool. I had Mario on my Wii VC, and I just turned on the game, and I was like, let's just play Mario. And then that immediately got me addicted. I didn't stop playing. That was the start. That was April 2014. Yeah.
That was the start. I kind of love that story. You're just like, I just started playing 64 and never stopped.
It never stopped.
And now it's 2019.
Yes. Now I'm here. Literally. That was like an unexpected start to my whole new life.
So I'm kind of glad you kind of mentioned like Punky and Siglemic and some of these names that you're obviously like in their level now, you know what I mean, and have surpassed all these guys in a way, and I kind of also love the like relationship between what I've considered like, you know, the 4 or 5 top Mario 64 runners. You guys all seem like friends generally.
Yeah. Yes. And Pace, the GSA's first event, Pace, this year was the first time that all 4 of us were together. The first time I met Siglemic, and and all 4 of us roomed together. Me, Simply, Punke, and Siglemic. We all roomed together, and it was like the guys
gods of the game.
4 horsemen.
Yeah. And you know, in 2015
you can toot your own
established a connection.
Yeah.
It's 2015 we established this connection. It was like the 4 of us, and then finally that was where we all met. I mean, me, Simply, Punke met a lot, but it was the first time we all met Sig together, and we were there, and it was a great moment. It was great.
Yeah, you have a kind of a special relationship with Punky's mom too. Am I wrong about this?
Where's this going?
Not. Yeah, it's similar to Pooh Bear's Twitter handle right now. At your mom's house. That's that kind of relationship. No. Yeah, Punky's mom.
She always donates every time he runs, and she donates when you run and stuff at GDQs,
I think you're talking about Simply's mom.
Oh, is it Simply's mom? Sorry.
Mom.
Yeah, Simply's mom.
I mean, I have
just all the moms.
He's got a relationship with all the moms. Yeah.
I have a connection with all the moms. No, I have well, Simply's mom is everyone's friend. Simply's mom is like, she is like insane. She makes these like simp mom crates, she calls them, and with all of Simply's friends in the speedrunning community, she delivers it to them with all these goodies and stuff. She's crazy awesome.
Wow.
Simply's mom is amazing. I've every SGDQ I visit Simply's house, and I stay with them for like a week. That's why when I go to SGDQ is like 2 weeks, right? And so I know his family really well, and I've been there for 5 years now, since 2015.
Would you say you're not a speedrunner unless you get like one of those from Simply's mom? Like,
yes.
So there you go.
Need those to actually
that's how you know you make it.
Yes.
That's how you know you're big time in the Mario 64 community, when you get the Simply Moms package, you know? That's really great. All right. So when was the first time, like when did you realize like you could achieve a world record? Because 2014 to just picking up the game, fast forward to 2015, and you're like, you know, establishing this connection with the other, you know, with the greatest players of the game. You know, like how quickly did you learn? Like, how did you focus? Like, how did you become Cheese? You know what I mean? Like the legend that we all know today.
When I started playing Mario, like I said before, it was like I didn't stop. It was quite literally. I mean that quite literally. I did not stop playing the game. I didn't sleep for a year. I'm kidding. I played every single day for 2014. Every single day I played. I didn't take one day off. And
Wow.
I think from early on, I just happened to figure out what it took from Mario 64 itself, at least for that game, because speedrunning, every game is different. Right? I figured out what it took from Mario 64, like how to get good at the game, basically. And it basically is kind of like a simple format where it's 50% runs, 50% practice. That's the best way, I think, to get good at the game. And that's the kind of like what I started and what I continue doing. I would practice a few hours, and then at night I would do runs. But the important thing was I always did runs every day. But you had to implement that practice as well. And I kind of did that same regime every day. And I got good quickly.
Obviously.
How did I get good quickly? I don't really know. I just happened to understand the game quickly, and people would ask me like, geez, how are you getting so good? And people would be like, dude, this guy's bopping this guy who's been playing for like 2 years, and I didn't know why. It was hard to understand. I didn't understand why. And when I did realize, the point that I did realize, holy crap, I could go for world record now. That was like right when 2015 started. At the end of 2014, I beat Siglemic's time the night before taking a Christmas vacation, which is the first break I took from Mario. I beat Siglemic, and I was like, damn,
I've earned a day off.
I'm turn 4 now, and it's getting serious, and actually getting serious. I'm getting more famous. People are coming in. And then 2015, it was a little tough at first, and then in April, I just had that run that beat the world record, and it was insanely good. And then I realized, okay, this is a thing now. This is this is actually what I have to focus. Could be a career. That's when I realized everything was coming into place.
So even back in 2015, you were thinking of this like this can be like my full-time job. This can be my career. This is what I do. Like, this is it, right?
Not exactly that thought. The thought that came into my mind was that it was more of like it's kind of funny. Because I know the thought of this could be my career did not come into mind. I think the initial thought was I could start making money from this. That's what I thought first.
Mhm.
And that's what my mom told me, because when she saw how much donations I got from the world record night, she was like, oh my gosh, like, you actually got a lot of money. Like, you can make money from this. And then I told myself, oh, I can make money from this. Okay. And I was very naive then. Very. So I didn't know how the streaming worked and that kind of stuff. And it took a while for me to really understand.
I want to know what happened to your brother, because you said he started speedrunning.
Yes. He stopped when I started, pretty much.
Okay,
he stopped when I started. He did it for like a year, many different games, and he never really got really good at that one game of focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2014, he just stopped and then started studying in late 2015.
Is he older or younger?
He's older by a year and a half.
Right, so you guys are really really close then, I'd imagine.
Very close.
Xwater's got the same thing. Like, him and his brother are like besties.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's got 5 years on me. But yeah, we're close.
He might be. Yeah, me and my brother we grew up playing games together. We grew up playing music together. We were in a band together. He played guitar, I played drums. We played in a progressive rock band for years.
What you guys need to do is find a co-op game. Get him back into speedrunning.
He actually, when he visited me last year, he spent 3 months here in Spain with me. He started speedrunning again. He was practicing Breath of the Wild, trying to learn any percent. And
That's
then
awesome.
was like, oh, I want to get into speedrunning again. This is so much fun. Then went back to school, and that was it.
Yeah.
What a
again.
what a dumbass going to school instead of sitting around playing video games all day.
He could have been you. He could have got that world record.
I always, you know what's funny is I always like, man, how dumb were my parents? They told me not to play video games the whole time and go to school. And like all school gaming was a bunch of debt, and all video games giving me is like cash money. No, I'm just fucking around.
Don't get me started on like school debt, man. It's so expensive.
The times have changed because now parents are like literally like
play Fortnite, kid.
Play Fortnite,
yeah.
I'll lie about your age. Go play Fortnite.
And then a lot of them would say they would see like what I'm doing, and now it's my career and stuff, and they're like, "You mean my son could play games and start making money?" It's like, hold up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
1 second.
Say that.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, obviously, and then it's the whole process of explaining to them, oh no, it's like this, it takes this much time. It's not just like you play games and money.
Yeah, it's not an overnight. It's not an overnight change for 99.9% of people. Like it can happen. You could somehow get super lucky on something weird and make it big on your first stream. Probably it's not going to happen, but
don't think it's ever happened.
The only one I can think of was the people that did the call-in show when the PlayStation 4 first came out. That's the only one. They did their first stream and they did a call-in show, which is a horrible idea. You know what I mean? And then the PlayStation president called in, and that really blew it up. Yeah. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like that was
5 years ago.
5 or.
Almost.
Yeah,
Something
20.
like that.
I can't believe the PlayStation 4 came out 5 years ago. I mean, Cheese wouldn't remember it since he doesn't have one.
I actually would not remember that.
Man, you've never been like curious, like you've never seen like The Last of Us and been like, man, that looks like a cool game.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I should have elaborated on that. My uncle, my mom's brother,
Sonic.
His uncle works at Sony.
No.
Oh.
Yes, he owns.
He probably knows my dad.
My mom's brother, he was a PlayStation boy. So we grew up watching him and playing a lot of PlayStation games. We played a lot of
Spyro.
He liked horror games. So we played like
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I remember him playing Dino Crisis a lot, Gears of War kind of stuff, Xbox stuff. I watched him play a little bit of Last of Us and many games like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation, like long time ago, a lot of PlayStation 1 and 2 stuff. But I was always into the Mario stuff, I just like the Nintendos.
Yeah, I get it. I'm totally a Nintendo
We're a group of
fanboy,
Mario. Same thing.
But,
I got an Xbox 360 for Halo, but that's about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I fuck with PlayStation on the side. That's for sure.
Okay, I fuck with PC. I need to mention that as well. In my teens, I was PC FPS. I was Call of Duty, Gears of War.
Counter-Strike.
So I grew up a Nintendo. No, I tried Counter-Strike and I didn't get into it.
Interesting.
I tried it, but I grew up a Nintendo, and then I had those like 4 years of PC, Black Ops, Zombies.
Yeah.
I started streaming with Zombies actually. I didn't mention that either. But in 2013, I streamed with Zombies for a bit.
I'm always curious what like speedrunners' first stream games are, because very rarely is like a speedrunner's first stream game a speedrun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's usually not what you first do on Twitch, because like for me, I didn't start speedrunning for a long time because I thought it looked super hard and there was no way I would ever be good enough to do it, And
Like most people,
Turns out it's the easiest thing in the world.
You know what? I mean, well, I think she's hit it on the head. Like practice is wildly important. It's I mean, like anything else, practice is important, but like she's, I think, really hit it on the head. Like dedicating a lot to practice, especially right when you're starting, can really, accelerate that growth. Which I was super like dedicated to practice at first. Not so much anymore.
No, practice and no reset runs are the best way to start in a speed game that requires a lot of movement, or movement mechanics in general. And when we're at our stage, it's much less practice and much more mental stability going on. Maintaining that kind of like stress control kind of thing.
Yeah, like going into bits and being like, all right, I know these throws aren't that bad, but holy fuck, I'm nervous.
It's, dude, literally a year it took me to not fail the ending to finally get the 138. It took me.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about just the throws actually, and
we could spend an hour on that.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of. I'm glad you mentioned it because it's something that I think a lot of people think is kind of rather trivial, especially to speedrunners who are going to do these. And what we're talking about right now is at the ending. Anytime you kill Bowser in Mario 64, you have to throw him into some bombs. It's really famous boss fight. Pretty much, if you're listening to this podcast, I guarantee you know what I'm talking about. And but it's not easy, is it? It's not that simple, and especially when the heart's racing at that point, right?
Yeah, not at the speeds that you're doing it for sure.
Yeah.
The typical thing that you would see in chat that I know it's gonna happen, and it grinds me hard every time I see it.
Grinds your gears.
After if I mess up something like Bowser throws, it's that person that says, or multiple people that would say, geez, have you thought of practicing? Like, they really think that I've never practiced throws. They actually think that I've never sat down and tried to practice. They just think that I just wing the throws for 5 years. Of course I've practiced throws for hours and hours and hours and hours. But then you have to explain to them, well, no, you see, when I'm on sub 139 pace, that's never happened before in front of 4,000 people in the most revolutionary speed game of arguably of all time, and I'm shitting bricks, and they have three frame perfect throws that I have to do 3 times. You might get a little bit nervous, It's not a lot of practice doesn't really matter at that point.
Just slow down on the throws.
Yeah, just slow down. Do the walk-up
take your time to really get them.
Yeah. Wow. The backseat gaming is strong on any game, but I can imagine that part especially because everyone's played Mario 64 and they all know the throws, but they all think it was so much simpler than it really is. When you're at that rate.
I don't think people understand too that like every speedrunner practices the end of the game a lot. I generally don't practice the first world of Mario 3, but I practice worlds 7 and 8 all the time.
Mm-hmm. And people always think the reverse. It's funny because people always think they would ask, geez,
you reset all the time.
You haven't gotten a run upstairs to past the second half. Don't you think that would affect your practice? And I'm how are you gonna do the second part if you never get runs there? I'm they don't think maybe he practices the second part before he does runs obviously. But, I mean, that's all part of just not knowing the process.
Streaming,
So,
So what would you say is the accomplishment maybe you're most proud of? Because I mean, I know you're probably going to say a world record, but the thing I have always loved of you is the SGDQ 120 star run you did 2 GDQs, I believe, ago. 2017? Yeah, 2017. That run was about as good as you can do in a live event setting. I felt like that was such an incredible run. You got a 141, I believe. 140. Yeah, a 141, which at the time was only a minute and a half off the world record that you had at the time, wasn't it? It was an incredible run.
It was about exactly 2 minutes off the world record, and in that situation, it was I think more than 2 minutes better than the best marathon 120 star time, and it was very good for 2017. And I remember that that was by far my favorite GDQ experience, because I remember going to that GDQ with the mindset of I am going to kill that run. I want a good time. I really focused on getting a good time on that event, and it happened. So it was the best feeling ever. And I had the IGN guys. They were doing a ESL show on me. There were lots of interviews. They were filming that run. So it was super serious. It was this is a good opportunity for me, and I killed that run. I would never forget that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So what do you think though is your biggest accomplishment you've had in speed?
What is my biggest accomplishment in speedrunning, or in my career in general?
Let's they can be either one.
Yeah,
let's do both.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot now.
Oh, I like the deep thought here. This is exciting.
Yeah. No,
I'm glad you're thinking about this question.
It's funny because damn, there's so much things that come into my head. So the biggest the thing I worked hard the most, how you say it? I worked the most hard for was probably the first 139, and the journey was by far the longest. So like, what's funny to think about is that the time it took for me to get from 140 to 139 was longer than the time it took for me to get from zero, from before even starting speedrunning Mario, to getting my first world record. It took me 1 year exactly to go from zero to 141, which was getting the world record the first time. Then it took for me to get from a 140 to a 139.
Wow.
Wow.
And so when I got that 139, it was an insane initial feeling. But I think I actually felt better when I got the second 139 that beat Punkay. Like when Punkay beat my world record, and then I beat him less than 24 hours later.
That was ridiculous.
That was probably my best feeling. I don't know why, but that was the best. I don't know. Maybe I have this vengeance for Punkay, and I just felt so good beating him in 24 hours.
It was like the hypest thing I've ever seen too. Because didn't you call him right when you got that second one? You're like, guess what, bitch?
I did. I literally called him and said, "You got bought."
That's amazing.
I think it was a mixture of an insanely hype and clutch moment, plus the kind of like a somewhat selfish feeling of like, I'm the best bitch. Kind of like, I'm showing you this is mine. So that was probably the most awesome feeling, I would say, in my career.
I love that. Yeah, I love that you said that too. You know, like right. I'll never. I don't know. It's hard for me to like ever say I'm the best at anything. So I love that you just fucking like you own it. You know what I mean? And you're proud of it. You should be proud of it because like you're the best. You know, like you should. Here's the stats to back it up. You know, like it's not hyperbole.
I like how you guys are still all friends about it, and that's what makes all this always so good about it. Though is like there's no hard feelings for taking somebody's world record like that. It's like they're proud of you. You're happy. That's what makes speedrunning really cool, though. I think.
Yeah, and it is really fun. It does make I think the relationship between you guys at the top does add to the drama of the Mario 64 speedrun community. You know what I mean? It's really fun as an outsider to kind of like look at the super friendly yet super competitive rivalry you guys all have, and it's really great. Like I love anytime you guys race. It's just off the chain. It's always a great race. It's always a show. Something crazy is always going to happen, and I love seeing it. We talked a little bit. You mentioned GSA actually.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, tell us what GSA is and how you got involved in it. You know,
GSA, the Global Speedrun Association. It's an association that was made pretty much exactly a year ago. Basically, the whole idea of GSA is we want to create a different, and we want to enhance the new era of speedrunning that has really been kicking off in the past year or so, which is the competitive scene in speedrunning. And we a lot of what we do is based off of what speed gaming does, where it's speedrunning tournaments, right? Is the main goal here. It's competition in speedrun. People could call it, taking speedrunning to the esports level. I don't think speedrun needs to be considered in the esports world because speedrunning is so different in it and it's so unique. Speedrunning is like League of Legends is one game and it has its own esports environment. Whereas speedrunning is not a game. Speedrunning can be any game.
Yeah.
Right? So it can be its own thing. It can be its own sense of competition, right? In itself. But apart from that, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is, we want to grow competition in speedrunning, right? And a lot of what we're trying to push is the idea that competition in speedrunning is not going to kill the grassroots of speedrunning. Because a lot of people had these concerns when it comes to competition and money in speedrunning, right? That's gonna, it's not what the grassroots are. It's all about the nostalgia. It's all about the community. And it's like, having competition speedrunning is not going to kill marathons. It's not going to kill charity. It's not going to make people stop trying to go for world records. No, not at all. It's like it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You would always have your GDQs and your marathons and ESAs, and then adding competition is just it's a second thing that you could add into speedrunning. And that's basically what we want to do. We want to grow that second new part, which is competing. And the main benefit of this in our eyes is that it creates a whole different incentive for speedrunners that might not think that they have what it takes to be the best in their game, or might not have enough time to put in that is necessary to be the best at the game, but create an incentive for them to keep playing for a different reason, and that is competing with other people, competing in a league, being able to attend event and compete live against someone else. And that's basically what our goal is in GSA. And we already had our first event this year in April called PACE 2019, which was insane. It was
it's an awesome event. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. There was, and for those who didn't watch PACE, like one of the things I really enjoyed about it was the packages you guys put together for each big race, like the Celeste package and the 64 package between you guys. Like I loved that. It was such a touch of quality and kind of had this sport broadcast feel to it.
Which is
I thought that was great. Yeah.
We're trying to push a lot of the shoutcasting, and instead of like the couch commentary that you're accustomed to seeing speedrunning, we're trying to push that shoutcast feel, the esports, I guess you could say, feel to the professional shoutcasting feel to speedrunning, and see how that plays and how it goes. And people's reactions were, not only people, but the amount of people that reacted positively was it was pretty crazy. And after PACE is when I really realized, wow, this really is something that speedrun needs to be explored, and I'm really glad to be part of it, to be part of GSA. And speed gaming is just another one that's helping do that.
Yeah. I know Pooh has been talking about like this needing to be a thing for a long time, and I think it's just the next evolution for speed running. If you take a look at like golf is a very casual game, but there's tournaments, and then there's charity golf tournaments. Like it's the same thing. It's just substitute golf with speed running. It doesn't hurt at all. It only improves and makes the audience wider and gets more people involved, and it injects money into the community in general, and that's a big thing. Because
Go ahead.
if you have these tournaments where people can actually make money, then they can afford to go to these other marathons, these charity streams and stuff, and continue to do this and continue to hone their skills. And you're only going to get better players and better output with this. So for anyone that thinks it's ruining it, it's like, no, it's only improving it.
Yeah,
Precisely.
Yeah. I was. So does that mean you guys are planning on doing more events? I would say.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, after PACE is worth mentioning that a month after PACE, Smash and Splash 5, we were part of Smash and Splash as well, where we did the rest of our leagues. We have something going on at later this year that I can't
Don't worry
potentially
about it. Don't say anything.
potentially.
Hot preview, the hot preview right here.
Yeah, you can throw in a secret or not,
I mean, we want to break some news. We can break some news right
That's
now.
literally what we
I'm
do.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hang in the food in front of you for you to smell it, but I'm not gonna let you taste it per se.
Here you go. Here's the
So later this year we have an awesome thing being planned, and I cannot wait until it's announced.
We're
but we
looking
do have
forward
plans
to it.
for this year, and of course PACE 2020. PACE is going to be a yearly event, and
Nice.
maybe hopefully biannual, but for now, a yearly PACE for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about about these leagues. Like, I thought one of the really cool things about some of the leagues you set up, like Celeste, like you actually teamed with the developers of Celeste to create a prize pool for the league. Did you not? Yeah. How did that relationship come about?
So for season 1, Matt Makes Games, the guy who created Celeste, he sponsored the league with $5,000 prize pool, which was insane. At first we were like, we didn't expect that. And the connection was pretty simple. One of our CEOs, Steve O'Broyle,
Tell me you just DM'd him.
He literally just DM'd him.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I love that.
I mean, how else are you gonna contact someone? It's possible that he emailed him and not just straight out DM'd him. He probably emailed him. and was like, "Hi, this is our idea, total format, structure, sent him everything, and this is what we want to do. We want to have pace, live event, to have the top 4, blah blah blah." And we didn't even ask him for a number or anything. He came back to us and was like, "Hey, here's $5,000." Like, oh damn. And then season 2, same thing. He still wants to be involved. So I was like, wow, awesome. So
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That is so cool. Yeah, because he's been like a really big part of the speedrun community for that game anyway too, right? Like he was on the
He went
couch
to
for
GDQ.
yeah.
he's on the couch.
Yeah, so definitely a good game to reach out to the developer for sure on that one. You get any money from Nintendo?
Yes, $100,000.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But speaking of Nintendo, you are gonna have the Mario 64 League again. And you're also gonna have Mario Maker League, are you not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario
She's
Maker
actually
League.
got me involved. I get to compete.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
That is
excited. My
really-
first match is on Sunday.
Oh man, are you supposed
Nice.
to be announcing your involvement? What are some of the names you have in the Mario Maker League?
All the names you could think of. We got
I don't know about all the names you
Okay,
can think of.
well-
I don't know. There might be missing one.
Yeah. So there were so many people to reach out to and that were interested that we had to make 2 divisions.
Nice.
So we have 24 people. I mean, Trihex, X-Water, Dragon Feeney, Slade, Ryukar, the Beast.
Yeah.
He's gonna win.
Wouldn't be
Shoot, I'm
surprised
just
if
trying
he
to put names on top of my head. But you know where I'm going at.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Fox
saw.
big
I think I
names.
saw Simple
A
Flips
bunch
and
of them.
Paco in
Yeah.
there.
Some
Yeah.
big names. Some big
Yeah.
names right there. It's some hot competition. Yeah. I travel too much. I can't do that anymore. Like I'm regulated to I can't be in leagues because I'm all over the place now. I would miss all my damn matches and have to forfeit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
so-
thing. Like we were very aware of like, okay, it's a lot of these people are big full-time streamers, and I know that it might be tough for some of them, and I think you're literally the busiest speedrunner that I know. You are insane. I always see you doing something crazy.
I'm trying. Yeah. I try to stay busy. I try to do I'm trying to do a lot of things and bring everyone along I can to do some fun shit. We tried to get you involved in Las Vegas, of
Yes.
course, but you were at Smash and Splash.
In the middle of Smash and Flash, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do a lot, I'm definitely like where you're on the competitive side. I'm doing like I've gone like it's just funny because Jakku said I used to talk about doing competitive stuff all the time, but
Mhm.
instead I just ended up doing like the most fun like drunken event you can do.
Which is crazy because it's literally like the perfect in between.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love it.
And it's the best idea that you could. And the thing is, like,
I love it.
the people that you have there are, and I know you do this on purpose. You know what you're doing. I know you know what you're doing. The people you have there are the perfect possible people that you could have at an event
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. It's just perfect
Yeah.
for entertainment and
Yeah, I usually I like to think about where we're going and how I'm gonna put together a lineup at a particular place. Like that's something I
Yes.
always try to think about. Like do we have anyone hometown, like stuff. Anyway, this isn't about me. This is about you. Yes, this is
Okay.
about you. So like what you just got the record. Like what's I don't know. What do you do now? I know you used to you dabbled in OT. I know you said you started
Yes.
speedrunning OT, thought it was too hard, but you actually did end up speedrunning OT and became quite proficient at it. If
Yes.
I'm not correct, top 5.
yes,
Yes.
I was,
Does anything translate between Mario 64 and OT?
No, not at all. It's crazy how different. So the way I like to explain it is that OT is the perfect mixture of knowledge-based speedruns and skill-based speedruns. Mario 64 is 100%, 110% skill-based. You don't need to know the first thing about Mario. All you need to do is move the guy many hours, and you'll get good at the game.
his name.
You don't even
Just
need
gotta
to
move
know
the guy.
What's this guy's name? Jeff? I don't know. It doesn't fucking
Doesn't matter.
Up to this day,
Just move him.
I still have no idea what the text says in more than half of the game. I don't even know like half the name of the stars in the game. I still don't know, because all you gotta do is move Mario for hours and you get a world record, right? OOT is impossible to speedrun unless you know exactly how the game works. You need to study the game to be able to get it Ocarina of Time. But with saying that, there's also skill factors. You need to practice. You need to practice the bomb tricks. You need to practice the glitches. You need to practice movement. And I've noticed a lot over the years in the OT community that I think speedrunners tend to focus way too much on the knowledge side. People get addicted to how cool OT works as a speed game, and they don't focus on actually getting good and practicing enough and the skill part. So I see people struggle, but you ask them anything in the game and they will tell you in a heartbeat. Right? So I focus a lot, because I'm accustomed to focusing on the skill factor. I focused a lot on the skill side of OT. So I got good and optimized at the game very quickly, and I beat a lot of people that have been playing a lot of for a long time. But I wouldn't be able to do an OT bingo. I would be absolutely frozen. I'd be like, what on earth do I do? What is I have to RBA? I don't even know what RBA means yet, even though I do it a bunch in the speed run and I have a third place time, but I have no idea what I'm doing. It's that kind of game. But it's a beautiful, and I understand why OT is such a popular speed game, because it really is a perfect mix of knowledge and skill. And in saying that, I do plan on going back to OT very, very, very soon. I would love to get back into that game and see what I could do.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
do you think you see yourself diving into any of these other like non-direct speedrun kind of OT categories, like maybe the bingos or the randomizers, or even multi-world type stuff? Does any of that intrigue you?
It does, but not on a competitive level. It intrigues me on a being a full-time streamer level. In a sense of, oh, this is more content and it sounds like a good time. But not competitively. No. It's not like randomizers, to me, are like my beautiful man Grand Pooh Bear here said once, it's the best and worst thing to ever happen to speedrunning.
It is. Yeah.
It really is,
100%.
because it's crazy how randomizers literally would have made people kind of lose motivation to, to do the old school speedrunning thing of trying to beat your PB kind of thing. People
Mhm.
would spend lots more time doing randomizers because it's so much less stressful, but at the same time you still get to play your favorite game and have fun with it. And that's what I see it as. Randomizers is that thing where I would do when I always have that day when I'm like, I'm doing Mario 64 randomizer today. I just don't feel for the stress of 120 star. I want to do some randomizer and have fun and just chill around, And that to me is what randomizers are perfect for. So not on a competitive level, but I probably would be very interested in trying some OOT randomizers and multi-world. I already have people talk to me about multi-world and being like, oh, we should try a big multi-world stream and that kind of stuff.
Multi-world's pretty cool, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun to be had.
I heard it's fun.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. That's dope. So, and no plan to head back to the PUBG time. I remember you flirted with PUBG a little bit and stuff, whatnot. No plan to head back to any first-person shooters or survival games or anything like that. Any more battle royale?
That was That's all I gotta say is insert Roblox. Oof. It was a bad, very, very, very bad professional decision to start streaming and thinking that could work. Oof. Like speedrunners trying to do FPS stuff is like, it's never works out. It's always really, 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 usually always really, really bad because it's so different. It's such a big change. And people are just, and I realized after that, it's like, I cannot stray away from speedrunning. It's just, I can't sustain my career. But in saying that, I don't want to. because I love speedrunning and it's by far my favorite thing. So I'm glad that I realized that, and I'm not worried about it because I don't plan on stopping, and not only just speedrunning, but I don't plan on working in the speedrunning community in general for my entire time being a Twitch streamer. So probably not. No, I would never probably dabble into that again. It's not a good idea. And it was fun for a bit, but it really did not feel like I was doing anything. You know, you play a battle, you get into a battle royale match, and what are you gonna get from it? You know, and I realized unless you started playing the game when it came out and you grind 10 hours a day trying to be top on the leaderboards to maybe get an esports team and play professionally, which at this point I'm on an esports team already, but for speedrunning. You know, so definitely that's gonna be a hard no for me. Probably not.
It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Yes,
That's a note for me. Well, let's actually. I'm glad you mentioned that. You are with CLG. You formerly were with Beast Coast. What's been kind of your relationship with that? With we've seen that like there was this kind of like quick like rush to get speedrunners on esports teams. I think it's slowed down a little bit. But what's your kind of experience been with CLG?
Well, it's exciting, isn't it? And it's intriguing because I've actually been noticing that in the past year of these esports teams literally just rushing into speedrunning. And it got me thinking a lot. CLG has been great. CLG, it's funny because when CLG came into speedrunning last year, October, with ZFG first, CLG quite literally had, and they still kind of don't, but back then they had no idea what speedrunning, what speedrunning works and what it is about. And they're like, when they signed us, they literally reached out to us and were like, okay, guys, you guys are here, but we need you guys' help because we don't know what we're doing with speedrunning. But they just knew that they wanted to get into speedrunning because a lot of people that work in CLG, my manager Tafokins, you might know him.
I know him. Yeah, I've spoke with him about different things, and more than that, I am an admirer of his Tetris skills.
Right.
Yeah,
he's awesome. Player. He's my manager, and he's always loved speedrunning, and a lot of his colleagues that work with CLG, so that they wanted to get into speedrunning, and they saw the potential. And since then, we've done a few things. Well, they have a lot of stuff planned for later this year, which I can't talk about, obviously, but I can't wait for that. But
you don't want to break CLG scoop? We can come on. We can break some scoops, baby.
You got to give us a scoop, man. Come on, give us something.
We're looking for a scoop.
Anything, make it up. It's fine.
GSA,
we'll report on it like it's real.
GSA hosted a fundraiser stream that was CLG based fundraiser stream that is going to be more ongoing for the rest of the year.
That's exciting.
So yeah, that's what I could say.
Okay, scoop. That's a scoop.
That's a scoop.
We gave you a scoop, ladies and gentlemen.
There's your scoop of the week.
But with that said, it's been great, and I mean, CLG is a big team. You know, they've been around for a long time. So
they're a very big team, a very good team. You know, like an established team, and I mean, their league team is.
I just want to say the word team right now because you guys are saying team like every other word. Team.
You got it. You did it. Good job.
Yes. Nailed it.
And when it comes to Beast Coast, well, Beast Coast was the first, weren't they? They were the first team to come into speedrunning.
Yeah.
And I remember
they still have some guys. Yeah, they still have some guys in speedrunning.
You were part of the first lineup too, the original like 9 or 10 that were approached, and we had this group going. And then you got the offer from Allegiance.
Right? Well, I guess we can talk. Yeah, we can talk about that now since neither one of us are with either of these teams. But so this is actually kind of funny. So Beast Coast was wanting to sign like 10 speedrunners, and then Allegiance came along and talked to one of the guys in those 10, and they were like, "Oh, we'll offer 5 of them more money." So 5 of us left and went to Allegiance. Yeah, like literally.
And I knew that's what was happening too.
Yeah, and we just all kind of took the like Beast Coast deal and was like, "Well, here's we can get more."
Yeah.
So they
It was pretty crazy the idea because I think it worked out for the best because it was like literally half and half, and you got 2 pretty good teams to come into speedrunning. So I think it's probably be a better thing to happen. So
Hey, only one of them still around though.
yeah, that is
GG Beast Coast on that one.
but yeah, that's it's been about a year and 3 months now since esports has come into speedrunning. So I just can't wait to see what happens from now. But it is pretty crazy how fast like all these teams came at once. That is worth noting.
Yeah.
It's only going to keep growing, and like more teams are going to pop up, I'm sure.
Speed
It's growing.
hounds.
Speed.
I guess
Give me
the
the
question
next
is, the ultimate question is will esports teams ever consider signing or looking beyond just influencer contracts and implementing some sort of like competitive stuff into it? Because if speedrunning competition does reach to that point, will they be interested in that and not just like influencer contracts?
I
we'll
think
see
it's on the
with
way.
time.
Probably,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
yeah.
it looks
With
like
time.
it. I'm sure you believe it's on the way. I mean, you wouldn't be putting your time and effort into GSA if you didn't believe in the future of all this, right?
Yeah.
That being said, if let's picture 3 years from now, maybe 5, where do you think GSA is sitting in the competitive speedrunning community? What do you envision as the future for these live action, these tournament style speedrun competitions? Do you think this is going to take off like extremely hard? Where do you think it's going to end up going to with GSA and speed gaming and all that?
I think the first thought that comes to my head when it comes to the competition is I think for it to reach that big to the how do I say it? The not physical big stage, but the big stage where lots and lots of audience come in.
Like a $50,000 tournament, like
I think for that to happen, it would have to reach a really general public kind of event or environment, because I don't know if you would agree, but I think like GDQ audience and viewership is mostly based at this point now in 2019 off of people that already know about speedrunning and the scene enough. And for the competitive side to really kick off, a lot of like general public people that might not know about speedrunning yet might have to find it or get involved. I think to really get to the stage of like a GDQ or the size or a size that is worthy enough to really establish the esports name into speedrunning.
I often say that like I think GDQ kind of exists outside the realm of speedrunning.
It does a lot.
In a lot of ways, like it's its own thing now that it doesn't have the day-to-day speedrun rules, I guess. Like nothing really applies to it in some ways.
It's much more of like a generalized video game event.
Yeah.
And I think for the competition is speedrunning to reach that size, the same thing would have to happen. But I think it could happen. It's just speed gaming GSA, we have to be very smart in how we make that happen.
Do you think it involves like the right game that hasn't come out yet? Like, because I have the game lottery, or hitting the game lottery, or is it more something that we as a community, I want to include ourselves in this, and you GSA, like, are we can we market better? Like what in your mind can get us to not just the next level, but like the ultimate level? You know what I mean? Like what in your mind do you think can do that?
I mean, ultimate level would be Nintendo sponsors us. But because that's not gonna happen, no.
Never.
Seriously,
that might actually hurt you.
Well, yeah, there's a lot that goes into that, but
there's a lot. Yeah, it's different. It's different.
I don't think it's the game lottery so much. I mean, like Super Mario Maker 2 would be a good example. Super Mario Maker 2 would definitely help in the growth, but no, I think it's a lot more to do with sustainability and longevity. So if we have consistent leagues of the same games that we know work, and getting to a point where we realize that it could actually be sustained long term, that's when that's like the root that needs to be planted, that would be planted. So like if we see that Mario 64 is a game we could have every season, because we have 2 seasons a year, we can have for the next 3 years, and it would always work and even get better and better. That would be the first step, because it's the sustainability. Because that's how esports works, right? Like League of Legends esports, League of Legends is always competitive, and it probably grows and grows. Like people always want to compete, and because they know that people always want to compete, they would always be able to have League of Legends esports events and tournaments. And that's, I think, where we need to reach. We need to reach a point where we would realize, oh, we could always have a Celeste League. It's going to get better and more people that want to compete. And that's the question everyone has. Will speedrunning competition work in that sense? Does it have longevity? Or is it just going to be like one league and then everyone is tired of playing the same game? So I think that's the main focus.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's a good point.
I like that.
Yep.
I had one more question on this too, and that's, so thinking about esports and what drives it. Obviously, one of the biggest things is the money behind it. And in the top of my head, a great example of this particular idea I'm thinking of is in Dota 2 with the International, a tournament that is essentially funded by the audience of Dota 2, where they sell in-game cosmetics that directly funds this tournament. Now, do you see that as a strategy that would work in a speedrunning format where a prize pool appears that's formed in some way from, not necessarily from a sponsor, but from the audience, whether or not they're donating it, or maybe they put in $10 and they get some sort of reward out of it. But at the end of the day, where a chunk of that prize pool does come from the audience, I think that also has people more invested in it. What are your thoughts on if that's like a viable strategy for the future as well?
That's like how Smash Summit does their prize pools with the merch through Smash GG, and they sell tons and tons of merch. And then when people spend $1 on a piece of merch, they spend $10 on a shirt, they get 10 votes, and that's how they vote in their players to Smash Summit, and that money goes to prize pool and that kind of stuff. It's funny because we were talking a lot about this among GSA like a few days ago, and it's just the idea. It's a scary idea because let's say, like, at least if we were to have that kind of idea implemented, all of it like suddenly, like we would announce something tomorrow and be like, hey, we're having this event and we're going to have like this system where like similar to like the Dota 2 system. It would be a scary jump in speedrunning. Like a lot of speedrunning, because the community was not accustomed to that. And I don't know, we don't know how they will react. We don't know if people will be like, oh my God, look at this. This is way too corporate, or, people in speedrunning have these very strong opinions and very grassroots opinions. So, I think it could definitely work because the community is large enough. There's no doubt about that. The complicated thing is the fact that there's just so many games. Again, speedrunning being a big community of many games. It's not Dota 2 only.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that is all part of us, what we're trying to do in GSA, which is establish those few games that we know work. So if after a few years we do establish these games that we have continuously, and those games communities continue strong or even grow bigger and bigger, and those communities get big enough where we can implement those systems for each of the games, then yes, I could definitely see that working. Where we have like the Celeste, Mario 64, Odyssey, Mario Maker, and let's say those are our 4 main games that we've pushed for years and it's gotten bigger and bigger, and then we can implement that system. I think it would work really well. If you think about the 4 games I chose, especially Odyssey, Super Mario 64, and Celeste, there's a reason why we choose these games, and I think you probably know why the reason, because they're short, they're consistent, and they're high skill based.
They're really fun to watch.
They're great for a league format.
Yeah.
And people who have asked questions, ridiculous questions on Reddit and stuff like, oh, I don't see this going anywhere because like how can you have a Final Fantasy League? Like, it's so long and people are gonna lose from so much RNG, and it's like, why would you think we'll have a Final Fantasy League? Like, obviously it's not gonna work. Not every game is gonna work, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, I think that's something that is like, what do I want to say? Almost like a hard pill to swallow for some people in speedrunning. Is just like, not every event is going to work for every game. You know what I mean? Like GDQ, where you have 7 days and unlimited hours. Yeah, you can show, 9 hours of Final Fantasy, and that's okay, and 5 hours of Chrono Trigger, and that's cool in that one-time setting. But it doesn't necessarily work in something like, a GSA, like a league, where you kind of are trying to hold people's attention for an hour or two at a time. So yeah, I'm glad you talked about that. I'm glad that's like I'm glad people understand that. Like it sucks, but like, I'm sorry, nobody wants to see Cool World at any event besides GDQ. Like, I'm sorry, it just not happening. Lawnmower Man doesn't need a league. Like,
we're not. It's not viable. It's not sustainable either. We're not gonna choose a game with 10 total players and have a league off of that. We can have a one and off tournament if we have the time and every player is willing, sure, but we can't have a league. It's not going to be sustainable. It's just and once people understand that, then it's kind of like how Melee was always by far the most popular Smash, and people just kind of understood that, and Melee and they just accepted it. Melee was by far the most popular, and it worked. It's similar to how Mario 64 would probably be always the most popular 3D Mario game, and we'll always have a Mario 64 league, probably. We would never not have a league for that, because it will always work. And that's just how things are. But in that said, I would like to finish that off by saying, I think the pace format, where we have marathon style of showcase runs and the competition mixed together, is a really cool structure. I think having both is great.
Yeah.
So we get to showcase those runs of games that you would see in marathon events, and also have that competition side.
No, I completely agree. I like I said, PACE was a really fun event to watch, and I was really impressed by it, especially being a first-year event. I understand the amount of work that goes into planning an event, and it's not easy. It's even harder when it's 24 hours a day, and
bad idea.
yeah, I mean, just think of, just to put it in perspective, your one event has quadruple the time of my 5 that I've done. So and a lot of work goes into it. So it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Well, we don't want to take up all your time here. I think we definitely got to have you on again, because I feel like we've just
a lot more to talk about.
There's so much more to talk about. Especially help maybe we can help promote some of those further events that are unannounced, not fully scooped yet.
Yeah. When we can have the scoop, let us know and we'll have you on again.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. But thank you so much, Cheezo5. Where can everyone find you at?
Well, not your
home address. Not your home address.
Not your home address. Your phone number.
One guest made that mistake. Never again.
Really?
No.
I was about to say, twitch.tv/cheese. No 05 anymore. Just cheese.
No 05.
Just cheese. Twitch.tv/just cheese.
Yes.
Wow.
Just
That's
cheese.
how you know you made it. That's how you know a speedrunner made it big time, when they get the numbers out of their name.
Yeah. Cheese.
Or the underscores.
Twitch.tv/cheese. But my Twitter does have the 05. Twitter is cheese051.
That's more expensive.
And my YouTube is cheese_speedrunning. And those are my 3.
Check those out. And of course, you can check out GSA at twitch.tv/speedrunning, correct?
Just speedrun.
Good channel name.
Man, that's a fucking channel
name.
Twitch.tv/cheese and Twitch.tv/speedrun.
Yeah.
Easy.
Wow.
Easy. Oh, well, thank you so much, Cheese. No 05. We greatly appreciate you joining us here. We're going to come back. We'll be right back here in just a second. We're going to bring you guys some of this week's hottest news. And there was some hot news this week, so stick around.
Stick around. All right, gentlemen, we are back.
Glad to be back.
All right, good. I'm glad was worried that my audio was going to be broken there and no one would be able to hear me.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
All right.
So we got quite a bit of news this week, and so we're gonna kind of try to take this, pretty fast.
Speed news.
Speed
Welcome
news.
to Speed
The
News.
first ever speed news. All right. You wanna start us off, X?
Let's start it off. All right. I got first session of Speed News right here. Has to do with Cheese 05, Drop the 05's favorite console, the PlayStation 4, and a brand new title coming to it called Genshin Impact, announced by Chinese company MiHoYo.
Never heard of them.
And you should check it out. The trailer, it looks really good. It looks like a really fun game. But what outraged people about this announcement was that this game appears as a blatant ripoff of Breath of the Wild. Have either of you seen a trailer of this game or anything about this game?
No, but please, I really would want to now.
Let
me. I'm going to take your opinion about it. Tell me.
I watched the trailer. I want to play it. It looks sick.
Does it look like a ripoff of Breath? Does it look like a because I feel like people are a little like who cares if they copy if a game's has a bunch of movable items and like Breath of the Wild, like if they're copying Breath of the Wild physics engine and setting, who gives a fuck?
Does it have
Link?
They're copying the art style and direction and kind of incorporating their own kind of gameplay into it a little bit more. Like there's a section where it's like, oh, okay, that's Link fighting a Bokoblin camp. Oh, wait a minute, this is a different game. Like it looks exactly the same, but the combat works differently. The world is very different. There's a huge cast of playable characters who all have weird powers, and it looked really cool. And I can understand why it's annoying. It's like, oh yeah, it looks like they bit the art style of the game. But if that upsets you, then every N64 platformer did the same thing with Mario 64.
Yeah. Listen, it's not like they're copying a bad game like Fire Emblem. So
you bite your tongue. I actually did this in my chat today, dude. I said, put a 1 in the chat if I personally, through streaming this game, have convinced you to try this series out and you liked it. That was put condition, and I got at least 10 ones in 60. I got at least a 15% conversion rate.
He got 1 1 and 1 0 is what he got,
So no, you're right. Copying game styles, that's been done. Who cares? If it's a fun game, it's a fun game. And companies, especially from China, are going to take art styles that sell and make money. So it sounds like a fun way to play a Zelda game on PS4.
They added it's got tons of waifus and everything. It looks fun. It looks cool.
Yeah.
I once heard, good artists borrow, great artists steal, I don't know. Doesn't really, in the grand scheme of things, does not really bother me.
That's why
I don't think it's probably not going to cut into too many sales of a Zelda game.
Yeah, it's not going to cut into any sales of Zelda for sure. I hope it gets a worldwide release at the very least, because it was a completely everything in the trailer was Chinese. I don't know.
PS4's region is region unlocked, so who cares?
Well, I won't be able to understand it.
So it's like playing a Fire Emblem game.
God. All right, speed news.
You walked right into
speed
that
news. Speed news.
Right
What's our next piece? I'll let one of you grab it.
Riot Games. Pooh,
oh, this is a big one. Yeah, Riot Games is actually working on their first game ever outside of League of Legends, which is kind of crazy to think about, that they've only ever made one game and then one basically mod for that game now in Teamfight Tactics, which is another banger. And they announced it at EVO, and you'd be like, well, why would Riot announce it at EVO? Because it is a competitive fighting game. I'm going to ask you guys your thoughts, but I'm going to give you mine first. I think this is going to be a really fucking huge thing. I think it's going to be a massively big game. I don't think Riot's going to go in there with the thought this is a one-off. I think they know how to make games as a service of League of Legends. I think they're going to knock it out of the park with this, honestly. And I also, prediction, I think it's going to be more Smash Brothers than Street Fighter.
Sure. I don't know much about it other than the announcement. I don't know if they announced anything about the game style.
They didn't, just that they're working on it.
Cool. So my first impression is it's going to be like League of Legends in that you get champions and skins and just it's going to be like Smash, like you said. but with new champions showing up all the time and just being able to change the skins. And that's gonna be really interesting for fighting games, because like I don't know, it should be fun, but it's probably gonna be like League of Legends a lot in that regard, but fighting.
I'm gonna be a little bit of a flop here and say I don't think it's gonna do well.
Okay. I don't think it's gonna do League of Legends well.
Oh no, I don't think it's gonna do fighting game scene well. I feel like the big fighting games are typically made by really experienced fighting game makers. Like everyone who's done it and has a game that makes it to like the Evo stage are people who have been fine-tuning the art of creating a fighting game for decades. Like Smash 64 kind of sucks. Smash Bros. Melee was cool as shit, but if you look into Smash Bros. Melee's development, you'll see that Sakurai literally like spent like every second of every day thinking, how much depth can I add to this game? And that's why it stayed around for as long as it did, because he had like all of those, like L canceling was intentionally a thing he threw in for people to be able to hone their skills because he wanted that option. League of Legends, I think will try to do something that we've seen that Icons tried to do, Icons Battle Arena, that the game that was essentially trying to say Melee's getting up there and we want Melee, but we obviously need something that's going to be a game that gets patches, new characters, because people are getting tired of watching Fox and Fox fight in the grand finals all the time, you know? So Icons tried to do the same thing, didn't end up hitting the mark because, for one, fighting game netcode is hard as fuck to do. And for two, fighting games are really hard to make well. Number three, if they try to go Smash Bros. Based, I don't see a reason anyone would pick playing as, I don't know, Chongle, the Fire Drake, instead of playing as Samus, like this character they have an emotional attachment with. They can play Smash Bros, well-crafted 2D platformer fighting game where they can be Chongle the Fire Breather. I wouldn't pick the League version over Smash.
What if they took like League? What if they took League champions though? Like, do people not have an attachment to those? Like,
that's a good point. Fair? That would be the right move. Yeah. I definitely think that would be a huge move.
Use your existing character base, or at least a selection of the characters that make the most sense for it. To introduce the game, and they could balance things, and they could do it quickly. But that is going to be one of the big things. Is if it's their first fighting game, Street Fighter has evolved so much over the years, and like there was a big outcry with what was it, Street Fighter 5? Like it just finally outsold Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, 5 got a big outcry.
Yeah, so like if Capcom's fucking up, you're gonna fuck up Riot. Yeah, no offense, but yeah, you're right. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, here's the one last thing I thought too is that
make it quick,
like
speed news.
Yeah, this week we can spend a little bit more time.
The last thing I thought about this is that like the MOBA community is, I mean, I brought this up with the teamfight tactics, the auto chess thing, is the MOBA community in that genre of games has been going on a steady digression of complexity in terms of what you have to do to play it. You go from RTS, controlling an army, to an RTS where you have a hero unit, you're controlling an army, makes it a little easier, to a MOBA, you're controlling one unit, army's controlled, to playing auto chess with teamfight tactics, which has gotten to be as big, if not like on Twitch at least in viewership, about as big as League of Legends in a lot of cases, where you literally just let the units fight themselves and you watch. And a fighting game has an insanely high skill ceiling, and it's a hugely different like world. So I don't know if people are going to be like, well, this is cool, but I'm just going to keep playing League.
I mean, in fighting games, like, is it going to be joystick? Is it going to be controller based? Like, you know, like, are they going to like freak everyone out and be like, here's a keyboard mouse fighting game, which would be like wild, you know? I think the things that Riot has going for them are they've made the, you know, probably the game that's made more money than any other game in the world in the history of mankind.
It's true.
And so they have a lot of that money. B, with that money, you can hire some pretty knowledgeable people to help make your game. And with that being said, they know how to monetize a game in a way and support it in a way that keeps people coming and coming back and attached. So it is really interesting. I understand your skepticism. But I honestly, I think like Also, the fact that they announced with Evo, like specifically at Evo, that there's already some sort of synergy there.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Sure.
definitely,
And they'll be
I
able to
definitely
back
see
it
at
with
least-
prize pools too. Like League of Legends will just be able to Fortnite
Exactly.
it and be not in the same amount, of course, but
Like if
Fortnite
you're
it.
if you're Sonic Fox, like, are you going to play Mortal Kombat 11 for 15K, or are you going to play, you know,
League
this
Fighter.
game? Yeah, League Fighter for 150K, 200K. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I feel like, you know,
And
that
your-
just gets to
yeah.
That
Your
just
odds are
gets
pretty
to,
good too because it's a brand new game, even playing field in a way.
yeah, everybody's going to start out just as knowledgeable on it. Yeah, I can definitely
Yeah.
see it in the wise words of Jakku being 50-50 on this one.
Yeah.
Other Evo news, they pulled higher numbers than ever before Smash Ultimate, so that's pretty good. Should we talk about Pokemon then?
Yeah.
You're big on Pokemon X Water. You tell us about Pokemon.
It's
What's
neat.
going on with Pokemon?
They did like a small little announcement this week. They're bringing back the idea of region-specific forms. So they had that in the previous one with like the long neck Executor and the He-Man Diglett and all that stuff. So they're doing the same thing, and they've shown 2 so far. A Weezing, who has... You guys have seen
Looks
the
like a
Weezing,
bomb.
right?
It looks like a bomb.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Well, the first...
If any Pokemon was gonna look like a bong, it should be Weezing.
Yeah,
You know?
and the bong also looks kind of like a top hat, which is because, like, you know, it's all British based. It's like, you know, Weezing's sitting there like, "Hello, governor."
Take
my
another
God.
drag off my joint. Pull my chamber.
But yeah, so they showed that, and then they showed Zigzagoon getting a new form, but also a new evolution in the new form, which looked really cool. It's like, I personally felt a very strong bond with this new Pokemon, despite not remembering its name, because it's covered in X's, and it holds its arms up in an X position.
Oh, it's an X Water.
Yeah, it's like the X Water Pokemon, but he's a dark type. But anyway,
X gonna give it to you.
yeah, fuck waiting for you to get it on your own. Another new Pokemon. It's called I think it's Mipico or something like that. But it's just like, it looks like Pikachu, but the twist is that when it gets hungry, it enters hangry mode and it turns all purple. And if you want to turn it back to the other mode, you got to feed it, and its moves change based on if it's hangry or not.
Wow.
So it's pretty much my wife.
The only thing that would have made that funnier is if you did the Borat voice for my wife.
My wife.
My wife.
And
all right.
the last thing was they announced 2 new like antagonists, I guess. An old lady named like Betty or something, and a famous rock star named Marnie, who has a toxic fan base called Team Yell. And that's like the bad guy team, the Team Yell.
Wow.
Yeah.
That they named it after all the Twitter users that were yelling at them about the Pokedex.
I think so. I think they were
the
channeling
toxic fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were channeling their
Absolutely.
response to the game a little bit there.
Wow.
I wonder when they added that. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
They probably had some name like based off of like whatever the character is, and they're like, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we can make it a toxic fan base. This is perfect.
Yeah, all poison Pokemon, all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's glorious. All right.
I kind of love that.
yeah, me too.
All right. Other news. Twitch announces Twitch Studio. It's an all-in-one streaming app for new streamers. Definitely helps cut out the guesswork when you're trying to set up a quality stream. It's currently in a beta that you have to sign up for. It's like an OBS or XSplit, but it's supposed to be so much easier. And right now it's only for PC and only PC like desktop capture games. There is no capture card support to keep it simple, and also they haven't built it in yet.
Yeah, it's open beta or early beta.
Yeah, it's you got to sign up and get accepted.
Yeah.
But this is Twitch's first time building, like, when you wanted to stream on Twitch before, you had to always use something that wasn't developed by Twitch to even do it. So it was a huge disconnect from the start of streaming. Like, you're like, okay, I got a stream key. Where do I put this? Where's the Twitch app? So this is the first step towards that. What are your thoughts? What do you think Twitch is doing? Do you think they're going to be continuing to do more things like this and expand that and take more of that pie away from like OBS and Streamlabs and stuff?
Well, one thing they did mention is that this is not a replacement for OBS or XSplit or Wirecast, and they named like 4 other ones that nobody uses. But it's
Yes.
And I mean, I think it's very interesting. I mean, obviously, like, I don't think OBS is the most user-friendly program. I don't. I think XSplit is significantly more user-friendly, but it has the unuser-friendliness of being behind a paywall. I think it makes sense. You know, I don't know how many people, though, I don't think how many people are really being stopped from streaming because of
The complexity.
software. I don't know if that's a large, a tremendously large number myself personally. So I'm curious if this is like, I mean, I think this is always like one of those things like, is this the best use of their time? But obviously it's a team that wouldn't be working on any fucking thing else besides this. Like, it was a team that was hired specifically to do this. So it's not like it's a waste of time. It's just a different team working on something, but it is, I don't know if it's something that was needed, but I think that I think obviously Twitch wants zero barrier between a personality out there that can help them, you know, become big on their platform. They want to put it zero barrier between a personality and getting on their platform.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Makes sense.
I actually think XSplit's less user friendly.
Really?
Like every time I use it, I'm like, this is weird and garbage, and why do I have to click so many times? I
think it's infinitely more user friendly and just prettier overall, way prettier.
Yeah, I disagree on that as well, but I think it's our backgrounds. I think like technical background.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this makes more sense. But one thing I think you said, like, was this needed? You know, it's not a replacement. OBS and all this, and XSplit's better. And why are they pointing towards these new streamers? It's not completed. It's very much like their first foray into this, and I think that they're using that as an excuse. Like, hey, new streamers use this. Why we build features, and they're going to eventually have more features and better support than OBS and XSplit.
Yeah.
And once they do, now they're like, hey, all streamers, check it out. But they're using these early streamers as beta testers, essentially, and you know, seeing how that goes. And obviously, I think they would have the statistics on like signups, and like, so people signed up on Twitch, and it's like, I'm gonna start streaming. The person fills out their stuff, and then like, what happens after that? They probably have a good amount of users that just don't complete the steps because they get lost on what software to get overwhelmed. And so it's gonna be interesting to see if this helps, you know, fix that problem for them.
Yeah, and another thing I want to add too is that I think more than just being a streaming solution, I think this might be Twitch's first step into being the person that provides Twitch services as well. You know, instead of going out and, you know, getting your bot from where, you know, Nightbot or MooBot or something, maybe in half a year, Twitch Studio comes with built-in Twitch bot, and who's going to be able to, you know, build their Twitch, like, they're going to know how the Twitch chat works. They're going to know how to build a bot. The question is, will they be able to build the features that people want with that sort of thing? But that pairs up with, like, imagine how easy they could make setting up alerts and setting up your bot and all those other small things that, you know, back when all of us started streaming, took a couple of weeks to figure out what we needed to do, how to do it, all that stuff. Like, have it all in one spot, have an easy, like, onboarding wizard. Like, okay, here's your bot. Here's the recommended starting commands. Here's some alerts. Here's some suggestions. You know, all those things. They could put all of that in Twitch Studio so that after you create your account, enable two-factor, you are allowed to download it, and then bam, you're good. You're done. You're streaming.
Yeah. The alerts, especially because all that stuff goes to your dashboard already.
Yeah.
And so why not just have that into the app? They're definitely setting the groundwork to streamline this and make this as easy as possible, because it is overwhelming when you're like, okay, so I sign up for Twitch, I download OBS, I go to Stream Elements, I log in there, I take these URLs, I paste them into a browser source, I click start streaming. Oh, I didn't set my title. Like, so many things all over the place. And Twitch's whole moneymaker is people streaming. So the easier it is for them to get people streaming, and the easier they're set up, the more likely people are going to continue to stream and make more money for Twitch in the long run.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Cool.
Next up. This
Next
is
up.
a big one. This
I
is
got
a big
this
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. No Man's Sky Beyond, a big update for No Man's Sky. And I like that you put the game that just won't quit here.
This is a
because
meme for the podcast.
It is kind of funny. I feel like we talked about like No Man's Sky, or maybe like our first episode, honestly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it might have been. So it's kind of funny that like it's still going, I guess.
Yeah.
But this one's pretty exciting. It's adding VR support, which I think is really, really cool. It adds what they said is massively multiplayer online gameplay.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that means at this point with No
You
Man's
might
Sky,
run into
but
someone on a planet.
Well, I assume it's bigger than like the 4-player online they were even doing. I assume it's like now, like we're actually like when we go in an instance, like everybody that's on that planet that's playing No Man's Sky, all 14 people, will be
Still
able
more
to
than
play.
Fire
Almost got him.
Still more than Fire Emblem, yeah. Still more than Fire Emblem. So yeah, I'm very. I mean, I'm curious. I'm definitely the most curious I've ever been to jump back into No Man's Sky.
Yeah. No,
I can see myself on a Friend Friday if Xwater said, "Yo, let's do No Man's Sky." Not this Friday because I won't do it tomorrow, but next Friday. Yeah.
Well, is the update out, or was it just the trailer?
I don't think it's out yet. I think it's coming.
I think it's coming. And yeah, I would also be definitely down for a Friday stream.
I just spent the last of the dollars from my No Man's Sky refund on Steam.
Wow.
Yeah.
So interesting enough. So
awkward.
So,
it's on sale right now. So.
Yeah, it's completely on sale. It's like $25 or so. But I know a few other Warp World staff members also are very interested in getting the game and or have had the game and would be interested. So maybe we have a full like Warp World team stream.
Ooh.
Which would be very interesting. If it's 14 players online, we could definitely do it. But yeah, it's the game that won't quit. It continues to get updates, and we continue to talk about it. So
I will
hilarious.
say, despite not enjoying my time playing it, I will say I admire their perseverance and the fact that they're trying so hard to do right with this game. They've like good on them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if at the end of the day, they tried so hard to kind of do it, bring it justice. And like at the end of the day, like I enjoyed my first like 20 hours of the game. It was after that where I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
But yeah, all right.
You know what? I'm the same. I enjoyed time until I realized I will never find another human. And then I was like, well, fuck this shit. I think the thing I was most excited about was just like rolling planet to planet. And then the hype that would happen when I knew another human was on this planet. And then we hunt each other down and try to kill each other because briefing.
And now in VR.
Yeah, now we can do it in VR. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not excited about?
Let me
this
know.
news about these private investigators being sent to a YouTuber's house after leaking Borderlands 3 information.
That's a scoop.
Yeah, Gearbox apparently hired some private investigators. I don't have the YouTuber's name, but he was breaking a story. Apparently, when they unveiled the Twitch extension support for Borderlands in the trailer, there were some Twitch names, and those Twitch names had some weird followers, and so he followed everyone on those Twitch names, and eventually he got notifications that some of those streams went live, and they were private, and I don't know if Twitch actually has a private setting, because as far as I know, it's always just go unlisted, and
I think
no one can find you.
Yeah,
and
I don't know about a private setting.
Yeah, so what turned out, how he got all his leaked information was through the screenshots of the preview of the Twitch stream that was not like restricted in any way. And so he was basing all of his information on screenshots that would update by Twitch every, every few minutes, I think, actually. And they, he got these private investigators sent to him to figure out how he got this information. And like the internet's all in the uproar about it because one, they sent a cease and desist as well. And then it looks like IGN's trying to cover up for Gearbox. Saying how he broke NDAs even though he wasn't a tester or anything, and how his story doesn't make sense because of the private stream. But I think this story is actually still kind of breaking. But overall, it's just like, it's very interesting to think that this company is going to go after this YouTuber this hard for what was essentially their mistake.
Yeah, I feel like Take-Two and Gearbox have had a good amount of like negative press on Borderlands 3. You know, between
Yeah.
what we covered with Randy
Epic
Pitchford
Store.
and the Claptrap voice actor, and then this, and top it all off with the Epic Game Store exclusivity that gets every internet nerd's panties in a bunch. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man. The hate if you go with Epic Games.
Yeah.
Do you know Epic's guaranteeing these teams that they'll at least break even? They're guaranteeing a break even price. That's one of their things they're doing when you go exclusive Epic.
Yeah.
Like that's a big fucking deal to a lot of
Yeah,
games,
that is a
man.
big deal for a lot of developers. And I understand why they go for it.
Yeah.
It's it's in their best interest to make sure that they're going to break even. But it seems interesting that like a game like Borderlands, like you're going to break even on that. So like they had to offer you even more.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So it's some large numbers, I'm sure, that like any one of us would be like, yeah, okay, you can, let's do it. You want exclusivity for 10 years? That's fine. But yeah, it's just interesting the amount of scandals coming around Borderlands at this point. It's it's a fun game, but the way Gearbox is handling some things is very interesting.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get more information on this because, like I said, it's still kind of showing up, but like it's very.
They
very
need to
stuff.
keep their game information in the vaults.
Oh,
Hey.
Borderlands joke. I get it. And then finally, before we get into this week's hot take, mystery publisher. We don't know what publisher, but a mystery publisher reached out to a mystery streamer, asking them to open up loot boxes on stream, letting them know that the odds would be in their favor. And so that's opening up a whole can of worms of how many loot box streams have there been. Were those streamers that have done them in the past, were the odds modified by the developers in some way? And like there's a whole filing and investigation on this, but this is kind of crazy to think about.
That's interesting because they could do that without even a streamer knowing, without even a streamer's knowledge.
Yeah.
Like they could be doing that with Hearthstone streamers when they're opening packs. They could be doing that with, that's something very interesting because that's a really shitty yet genius kind of way of marketing and also horrible, so
you got a big streamer playing your game and he's like, I'm gonna open up some loot boxes, and like nobody reached out to him, but they know he's streaming, so they're like, oh yeah, go in there and change it. There's a way back in the earlier days of Bitcoin and stuff, and these sites still exist. There was ways to send your Bitcoin to a wallet and play a game to increase it and double it. And everyone's like, oh, that's a horrible idea. They're going to rig the game in their favor because it's like an online casino, but it's Bitcoin, so it's unregulated. The way that they allowed, like the way that they made it so that you could trust them is that they gave you a like 64 character string that once you knew the encryption key to, it would decrypt to what the answer or what the solution to the hand was. Like for, let's just say poker, it would tell you the order of the deck essentially. And so you'd have this code that you couldn't break until after you played. But once you played, it told you the decryption key, and there would be only one decryption key. There was no way to have like, a million different decryption keys to give you the fake hand, so that you could verify that what the server sent you was legit before you sent your money. And so I wonder if loot boxes need to do something like that, where they all have a unique identifier that you can see on these boxes that you can then verify after the fact it is what it said it was inside, and it never changes.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think something with the loot box industry needs to change.
Yeah. Well, at least on the plus side of that, there is motion at the very least. We've covered it a couple of times, so that's good news.
Yeah. All right, on to this week's hot take.
Let's do it. Who you take this one?
This week is
this one's a close to your heart.
Yeah, a hot take.
This one's sizzling.
Well, it is interesting because this is something that we inadvertently kind of got dragged into. This is kind of weird, and it's kind of weird to say that because we're not in like anyone. We're not really in this atmosphere at all. So it's kind of interesting that even happened.
Yeah. It affected us more than we thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those who know, we the Grand Pooh Bear Speedrun Sessions Tour was just announced its next stop, which is going to be in Honolulu, Hawaii on August 23rd. Yes.
Wow.
But anyway, we just did
I'm gonna drive there.
Yes. I hope. Good luck with that. We just did a show at Lollapalooza featuring, awesome things like crowd control. We had, Punch Out. I did some Mario Maker. I slayed it. It was a really great show. But right as our show started, and we were there as part of the Red Bull Outpost, and inside the Red Bull Outpost was Ninja's Dojo. And right as our show started, Ninja announced that he was signing, not signing an exclusive deal, because he never said that. The exact words were he was moving his stream towards Mixer. And quickly when you log into Mixer, you realize you get a free subscription to Ninja. Is it just Ninja?
Just Ninja.
Wow.
He's got more subs than follows.
That's crazy.
So you can redeem a free subscription to just Ninja. Wow, you can't redeem it to anybody else?
No, just Ninja. But if you use Mixer Prime, you get one free Mixer Prime.
But that's not true. That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
Wow.
Xbox, oh my God, Xbox Live's probably going to have a Twitch Prime type thing.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, that's gonna.
Oh man,
mind blown.
That's genius.
Yep.
Though.
Yeah, probably when Halo launches.
Oh my God, yeah.
Calling it now.
Genius.
They're gonna give you
That's-
in-game loot and shit by watching people who are playing Halo on Mixer too.
All right, let's finish the.
Yeah.
We're getting too
Okay.
far into it.
So let's not. I don't really want to talk about how it affected us at all. I don't think. We were so excited to do our event that it was very crazy to kind of like, and a little awkward for all of us, I would say, because we're all Twitch streamers. You know what I mean? And none of us are leaving Twitch. They ain't giving me no free loot. Like I didn't get any free subs. So it's man, I can't believe it's only
to him.
I would have thought they would have let you redeem it on any streamer.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. So my God. So anyway, let's go to this week's hot take. Sorry, I got so distracted by that because I thought it was any streamer. Okay, I can't believe people on Mixer aren't like throwing a hoopla about that.
I have a whole
Which
thing
people?
on this. No, so I have a whole thing for this. I have a whole thing for this already.
Okay. Well, let's just get. There's so many hot takes to get in there, so let's just start with your thing, Jaku.
Okay, so this whole free sub for Ninja on Mixer, like you're flabbergasted by it. Why there's not more outrage? And I'm also flabbergasted because when Ninja did his New Year's Eve stream, everyone on Twitch was like, "This is fucking stupid. This is horrible. How dare you promote another streamer on my channel?" And now on Mixer, everyone's like, "Yay, Ninja! Don't forget to go sub to Ninja." Then like his banners on on all the pages, he's highly promoted, and everyone's cheering about it. It's completely opposite sides, and it's only
like if you click on someone else's stream, it has a banner for Ninja.
I think at first, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I see this little gap where they could put like advertisements like that. Yeah.
So like this whole thing is like you're having the build, like Ninja's on every single page essentially, and it's all that Mixer is talking about is Ninja and promoting him as much as possible. But when Twitch had a promotion for this one event, like Twitch lost their mind, and it's completely different. And so my guess is it's just because the Mixer community is like, oh, we need to do this. We like him being here is helping all of us.
Which is true.
It is true, yeah.
Whereas I think the Twitch community was more like Ninja being here is hurting us because he's taking all our subs, and a lot of people think that like he's taking our Twitch Prime sub. You think that's what is that just the disconnect? Is that it? Is that really the end?
I think it
like,
reflects on. I think it just reflects really well on like just internet outrage culture in general. There isn't a big mass of people on Mixer to legitimate and not even trying to throw shade and be stupid and throw a dumb joke here, but there isn't enough people on Mixer to be audibly and visibly upset about this. Like you look at the top.
Mixer's the Fire Emblem of the streaming
exactly.
platforms.
There's dozens of them. So you look at the top streamers there, even if every one of the streamers who have over 1,000 viewers right now were to set out an angry tweet about how Ninja is being promoted, there would be 4 of them, and one of those is a 24-hour radio station channel. So it's not a person, it's Monster Cat. You know, like there isn't...
Who's also on Twitch and has many more viewers on Twitch right now.
Yeah, like...
And for those who don't know, Monster Cat's like, it's like a free, like streamers keep it on. So everyone watching Monster Cat's just like other streamers, so they have music in their
it's all
stream.
music like streamers are allowed to use on their streams. Yeah. I think you need like some sort of license for it in some cases though. So if you're listening to that, make sure you do your research on what you're playing on your streams if you're trying to avoid copyrights and shit.
With them.
That's really funny you said that. There'd be 4 whole streamers. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But I think you kind of hit it on the head though. Like they're just so, I think people on Mixer are just so excited because I'm going to compare it to my time on Hitbox. So for those who don't know, I started off streaming on a site called Hitbox. And you may have never heard of Hitbox because it doesn't exist anymore. And it was essentially, actually, it was literally before Beam. It was Hitbox, and then it went into Beam, and now it is Mixer, which is kind of funny. And they've just like constantly been getting bought by bigger and bigger companies and doing this thing. I think everyone's just so excited to get like in his atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they think that the trickle down is going to help, or it's going to be a catalyst for other large names to convert, which is, I guess, maybe our next hot take, because I know Ninja didn't do this for no guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think any of us think that Ninja did it for non-guaranteed money. I've seen anywhere from the number be anywhere from 10 million to 50 million a year.
Yeah.
Which any gap in that is a large amount of money. You know what I mean? Any one of those numbers is a large amount of money.
Microsoft. If anyone can afford to do something like that, it's them.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I want to just coin the term trickle down Ninjanomics.
Okay. I'm all aboard for it.
That's
which I don't think the trickle down economics has worked necessarily in real life. I'm not, and so far I don't know if it's working so much on Mixer, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that hot take in a bit. But if you're another big streamer, if you're a Dr. Lupo, a Daquan, let's go farther down the list, Dr. Disrespect Summit. Let's even get into just guys that are leaders in like the little Sia in the Dance Dance Revolution community. Me or Cheese or somebody in the speedrunning community. I'm not gonna go to Mixer for free now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I go to Mixer for free?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're giving guaranteed money to a streamer. Why would I give up everything that I've worked for as a big name to bring more people to your platform for free? It's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? And so now Microsoft and Mixer has kind of put themselves in kind of a weird spot, because there's nothing Twitch could do at this point. Twitch has already done all the fuck ups they could ever do in my mind. And they've already learned from all their mistakes.
Hold our beer, says Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, but like, you know what I mean? Like I just can't see like Twitch like fucking up in a way where I was like, I don't know what they would have to do to like, for me to be like, I'm outraged, I'm gonna go to Mixer for free.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
100% fair.
Yeah, and I have a number. I know my number that would take for me to leave another platform. Everyone has a number, and it's astronomically higher than they could make off me, money they can make off me back. Yeah. Like just individually my stream. So I think they've put themselves, I think it was an awesome aggressive play, but I also think they've kind of backed themselves into a weird corner now, because it's going to take more than just this one personality. You need to bring over 4 or 5 people, because when you look on the Twitch, like when you look at your stats on Twitch, 90% of your viewers come from the followers list. They already followed you. They clicked on their followers list, saw who was live of people they already followed, and clicked those streams. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
People aren't, I don't know if people are doing that for Mixer yet. You know what I mean? Are they just going to watch Ninja and then going back to Twitch? That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I think for the big part of it, that's what they're going to be doing. And like, when the one thing with like on Twitch is like, you click your follower list, like you said, and you're just gonna be like, oh, Ninja's not streaming. Who else is streaming? Click. Like for most people, they're not even going to care. They're just gonna go on to the next person. At the end of the day, it's how it works. And getting one person to move the platform, it's hard. I don't know if he's got that much pull. I mean, looking at the stats, I feel like I saw like around his premiere stream, I think it was like 60 to 70,000 viewers, which is lower than what he was pulling before on Twitch, and like
lower than his max on Twitch.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that's around what he, like when he had really good streams, that's around where he was getting. And then, but even like his World Cup stream was like 150K on Twitch. You know what I mean?
But then after that, like this past week, he was hovering around 30,000. So like the hype sort of kind of died down a little bit on that, I feel like. But like you said, I think you needed to have more than one person, because you're not necessarily going to miss one person on the platform when you're going through your follower list. But if 5 people that you normally watch, or 10 people, you're going to be like, oh man, 10 of these guys went over there? Okay. And you're going to hit more target audience, because again, not everyone's going to care because it's Fortnite or it's just Ninja. It's still soon to be, we still have no idea how it's going to play. This is literally a week old. It's crazy how much has happened, but still not happened.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, because I feel like as much as it's not going to be a move that I think pulls as many people from Twitch, like viewers, that pulls as many people from Twitch that are deep into Twitch. It's going to pull all those people who watched Ninja only. They all hopped over, and that's fine. That's whatever. What I think is the big play here is that the biggest name in gaming, if somebody, 16-year-old kid knows shit all about streaming, wants to go and get into streaming, they're like,
they're going to go to Mixer now.
Yeah, because it's going to be the first thing that pops up when, like, you search streamer, you're going to find Ninja. You hear about streamers, and if you're not in the gaming community, it's no secret that Ninja's the only figure in the gaming community at this point who's gotten like super mainstream press, like being on the Tonight Show and all that stuff, and being on Ellen and that kind of thing. So the mass audience of the world, or at least of North America, is going to get trickle down Ninjanomics exposed to Mixer. And I think it's an investment in the future of content creators, maybe 5 years from now, where there's a new wave of streamers who have been on Mixer now for 3 years and who have developed a skill, a talent, a personality, a channel, a unique experience in their channels on Mixer after finding out that Ninja streams there. I heard about him. They probably never heard of Twitch. They just started streaming on that site Ninja's on.
Yeah. I mean, Ninja's already done a lot for Twitch in the last year.
Totally.
Like with all those shows that you mentioned. I mean, that's when he was on Twitch, right? And so the world, he showed the world Twitch already. And now he's gonna do the same thing for Mixer, but probably to a lesser degree. I feel like, just because I feel like him and Fortnite has kind of gone down.
It's past it's definitely past its peak.
Yeah. It peaked for sure. But Microsoft's not banking on Fortnite, and Ninja's not banking on it either. And I think that's why he took this deal mainly. We all know streaming is very much a volatile job. Like tomorrow, you could no longer have your following. You could 100%. Say something stupid and you don't have a job anymore.
100%.
But taking a deal that for whatever amount he did, it guarantees him he's done for life.
Yeah,
like streaming could be outlawed tomorrow, whatever. He's fine with it. He got his money. So he's looking out for himself. But he also mentioned getting back to his roots, and new Halo games coming out.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that taking who was already the most famous Halo player, extrapolated his fame 10 times, and now you're pairing it with Halo and Mixer. I think it made a lot of sense for Microsoft. I think it made a ton of sense. Like I tell you right now, it made a ton of sense for Ninja himself. Like it really did. I think people are like, oh, he sold. No, he didn't sell out, man. Like if anything, you can blame Twitch for not giving him some sort of guaranteed money, because I think he's like, I mean, it sounds bad because I've he's kind of earned it in some
Sure.
ways. You know what I mean? Like I don't blame him for wanting guaranteed money at that point. I think he had reached a level that nobody else had, and the same way that Hulk Hogan got guaranteed money in 1984, no other wrestler did. You know what I mean? Like he kind of had earned it, and so I don't blame him for doing that. You know, I do think it's interesting. I think if you look at it as like a pure marketing play, like, you know, it's not even just like signing this guy. You're looking at it as a marketing play. Mixer was mentioned on ESPN this week. Literally all of us have talked about it. We're talking about it right now. That's free press for him. You know, they've gotten, I'm sure they've gotten their $50 million worth of mentions, you know what I mean, throughout
$50 million to Microsoft is nothing, by the way. Like,
drops in the world, you know, if that's the number that they end up, you know, let's assume it's the highest number people have talked about. They've gotten their $50 million worth of mentions. Now, is that $50 million gonna convert to users? So far, looking at it right now, like if you go on Mixer, literally right now as they're doing this podcast, I don't know. I don't know. And it might take much more than a $50 million investment on one guy. They might need to take another 50 and invest it into 30, 40, 10 guys, 30 guys, 40 guys. And not just the Fortnite community. You know, there's zero speedrunning over there. You know what I mean? Speedrunning is a huge thing on Twitch. Doesn't exist. When I went to look, the first time I checked out Mixer, of course, because of Ninja, I looked, there was 4 people watching Mario Maker 2. 4.
Yeah.
That's it. They're gonna need more than just, you know, the most popular games, and it'll be interesting to see how they go about that. You know what I mean? So
one thing I've seen people speculating on is with the new Halo game, Microsoft's in a very good position where they could only allow that to be streamed on Mixer.
The Halo games are already struggling.
That'd be such a bad idea.
They're punching themselves in the nuts if they do that.
That Halo game better be really fucking good if that's the case.
It would
like,
be
they better
very
know they have a banger Halo game.
Yeah,
you know?
That would be an interesting, or maybe an exclusive. You can only stream it on like the first week, Mixer only. They could do a lot with that, and like they're very connected. Twitch doesn't have any games like that. Microsoft has that ability. But I think like what we might see is like the Xbox Live pass might allow you to like. I don't see why Microsoft wouldn't let you sub to a streamer once a month with that.
I mean, there's a lot of really good points because Microsoft really in this console generation, the Xbox One, this console generation was Microsoft more than anything positioning themselves to take over the next console generation because they now are getting into the whole idea of cloud gaming, like same thing that Stadia is attempting to do, but Microsoft is going to try to do that with their next console. It appears to, from the looks of it so far. They've essentially mastered the casual living room experience at this point. You know, you got everything you need on your Xbox, like your Netflix, your any app that you want to watch, like Hulu, Disney streaming, all that stuff. You can do all of that on your Xbox. And they've built this amazing network of games where you basically have the Netflix of video games on Xbox. And now they have a streaming platform that they own and are promoting as well. And I think the biggest thing is, I think you're saying is right. They brought over one big person who is one big community. Ninja is Ninja, but Ninja wasn't Twitch, and Ninja isn't Mixer. And I think something that more captures the spirit of like the streaming platform is something like Friend Friday. You know, streamers who interact with each other, who are a community together, who host, like that's what Twitch is, right? It's these communities that intermingle and support each other and everything. And without bringing over like, you know, whatever the top 4 people who were playing Sea of Thieves when that was big, if they got that crew, that would be a big play in my head. Because let's say Pooh moves over to Mixer for whatever amount of money, whatever, all of your fans will likely go. But if they bring Pooh, they bring Barb, they bring Tofu, they bring Jakku, they bring me, they bring all the other Mario streamers, like,
right?
Doesn't matter if all our viewers are also watching, you know, other things on Twitch. but you've captured a audience. If they brought the top 5 speedrunners, you've captured an audience, you know? And just grabbing the one big name probably isn't enough. That being said, if they're willing to throw down whatever amount they threw down for Ninja, I wouldn't say it's out of the cards that they're trying to work these deals with other streamers right now.
Yeah. No, but I think you're exactly right. Like, and even something you've seen, like Ninja's been playing, the guys he plays with, you know, is Dr. Lupo, you know, Tim the Tatman, you know, like all these guys, they're still on Twitch.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so he's still playing with Twitch streamers while on Mixer. You know what I mean? They need to put a team around him in his community to really make that work, you know, and really get that money's worth around him. And then they need to buy up some communities. And that was a great example. Like, they need to buy up, like, say, a Mario community. And I not me, but, you know, say a Mario community or a Hearthstone community, or like, I'm trying to think of like a nice Grand Theft Auto role playing
or
community,
a MOBA
you know
community.
what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, something they need to be scooping up, you know, getting the top 10 speedrunners out there. So it's like, you can't ignore that. Oh, you're a speedrunning fan? Well, you kind of have to watch Mixer. You know what I mean? Because the best in the world, or these great personalities that you loved, and they're here now. And that's definitely what it's going to be. Let's talk about it from the Twitch side. Did it really matter?
Yeah. I mean, number one, like, everyone's like, oh, well, what if Twitch just gave them a bunch of money to stay? It wouldn't have made any waves. Like, what do you announce? Like, you know, like, oh, hey, Ninja's staying on Twitch. Like,
you just threw out a shit ton of money.
Yeah. So like that's one big plus that Mixer had, is like it was news no matter what. Ninja staying.
And one thing I should say is, when Ninja's contract's up, and if he ever moves back to Twitch, he'll cash in again.
Yeah,
exactly.
The same way, and we've seen that before with Nade Shot, when he left for MLG TV and then came back to Twitch and had a huge thing. But although, granted, never as big as he once was.
Yeah. Or, you know, he's retired because when the contract's up, he's like, whatever, I made way more than enough money.
He could retire Ninja could retire right now if he wanted to, you know what I mean?
No, he can't.
No,
he can't. His contract, man. He just signed a contract.
Sorry, you know what I mean. He has the money to live comfortably for the rest of his life.
He could have. Yeah.
But I mean,
Let's talk about the Twitch side. Does Twitch care? I heard there was negotiations. I heard that Twitch offered $25 million from a person that claims to have insider information. I have no backing of this, and what they actually said is true. And that seems fair, but again, it didn't make any waves. And so I still think like Ninja made the right move with this.
I think he made the right move for him.
Yeah, absolutely. For him. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, for Twitch, like, hey, you know, the Twitch Primes are going to go to more users now, potentially. Ninja was a huge boost to Twitch for a little bit, but like, again, I feel like Twitch knows it kind of died down a little bit, and at the end of the day, they have way more other things to do. I don't know if it really hurt them that much.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta tend to agree. I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it put as big a dent into Twitch as maybe Mixer was hoping. You know what I mean? It definitely didn't cause any sort of, like, you know, exodus. I didn't see any other partners being like, oh, well, I'm gonna check this out too. You know what I mean? I just didn't see that. There's so many ways right now where Twitch is enabled, you know, like even affiliates. Like, man, you see affiliates now with 500,000 subs because of gift subs and all these other things that, like,
500,000 subs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 500 to 1,000 subs. You know what I mean? You see these affiliates that are making like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month on Twitch as a side job. You know what I mean? Like, you see that now just because they have like one very enabled donator. You know what I mean? And lots of ways to monetize your content. So it's all really fascinating. I think it was, you know what, this is kind of the weird thing, but I think like it was a good move for everyone but the people who were opening up his particular event at Lollapalooza.
Yeah, those guys.
Those
got
people,
fucked.
man. One thing I did notice on the Twitch subreddit, lots of people on that for last week are like, oh, should I go to Mixer instead? Or, hey, I want to get into streaming. Should I go to Mixer? But they're still going to our Twitch
Yeah.
subreddit and saying that. So like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And like the people that are like, oh, should I go to Mixer or Twitch now? Like at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter
Yeah.
where you start.
Yeah.
Like I think you still have a bigger chance on Twitch.
Let me do. I actually wanted there's a couple stats here. Streamlabs put out. The average viewer size on YouTube Live is about 52 viewers. The average viewer size on Twitch is about 26 viewers. The average viewer size on Mixer and D Live are around 10.
Oh wow.
Yes, Mixer, however, has experienced a tremendous amount of growth over the last quarter.
Mhm.
But even with that being said, that growth amounts to a very, very small piece of the live streaming pie, and it was less than actually DLive had, although DLive was very pumped by PewDiePie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
PewDiePie is streams exclusive on DLive, so I'd imagine Mixer will actually pass DLive now that they have their PewDiePie. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, essentially. So but it's still like both of their pies are a fraction of YouTube gaming, which is a fraction of Twitch.
Yeah.
So
also interesting enough, Streamlabs just released support for Embers and Sparks alert supports, like bit alerts, on their platform today, and we all know why.
okay,
but-
what do you wait? As long as we're talking about this, like, what the fuck do you think of Mixer's like
Sparks and Embers?
well, no, like just the page layouts.
I'm not a fan of the Twitch or of the chat on it, because the colors aren't unique to the user. It's based on your role. So like all
Oh, that's why all ninjas are blue.
yeah. And
Okay.
so it's very hard to like on Twitch, it's very personalized. You see somebody's name and the color, and you know who they are based on the color. And when people change their color, you're like, hey, you changed your color. And it sounds so weird that you pick up on that, but it makes it so much more what's the word? I don't know. You feel more connected to the person.
Yeah.
And on Mixers,
I know your color, Jaku. Like I know your color. You know.
Yeah. Except for when I went random every message.
But I loved that.
Yeah, it was funny. But on Mixer, yeah, like you, there's none of that. Everything's just a big blue sea of names. Overall, like I'm not actually a fan of the UI. It's too blue to me, actually.
Yeah.
As well.
There's a lot of blue. I hate the buttons everywhere. It's just like it's so busy, like all over the place. Like it just feels so.
Yeah.
And like this is gonna sound bad, but it kind of has like like an old GeoCities feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on.
Twitch isn't the best design either.
But no.
But like it just, I don't know, something about Mixer.
Cleaner.
It's
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting though, and I think overall, like I think most gamers agree that it's good for the space. Like it really, like, you know, I don't think anyone thinks like having no competitors is like having a competitor is good for the space. It just is. So hopefully Mixer starts, you know, ponying up some money to some more guys. You know what I mean? Maybe one of our friends gets a multi-million-dollar deal or something.
I mean,
you know?
we could just stream the podcast on Mixer.
Oh, there you go. That's an idea.
Yo, 500 grand a year, Mixer will come over. You know?
Yeah, that's easy. That's easy.
It's not enough, guys. Sorry, we have billions of listeners. Okay.
Just the podcast, billions
just the
of
podcast.
listeners.
Yeah, just the podcast.
Just the podcast, though. Yeah, billions.
Speaking
of
the
listeners.
podcast,
Yeah.
I think we've had a really in-depth discussion here, and it's been great. But I think we do need to get wrapping this up because
well, we're making up for last week's
that's
lack
true.
of
This is a
episode.
double feature.
We have
All
a
right.
double episode. Yeah.
But I guess final part of this,
I got Vegas to go to.
final bit of this hot take is Mixer versus Twitch. Do you think we're gonna see Mixer succeed and be healthy competition, or is it gonna fall flat? What do you guys think? 2 years from now, where's Mixer?
I mean, if you had to put a gun to my head, and would I say like what would be success? What would be considered successful for Mixer? Like, let's say like 30% of the market. You know, like I don't know, like what? I mean, it depends what they think they're the successes, but I just can't see the way Twitch is set up, and it's so easy for people to monetize from like almost like the minute you start streaming, and the amount of work that really does go into rebuilding a new community. You know, I mean, like not everyone's ninja where your announcement of moving is going to be like covered on ESPN.
Yeah.
I just can't see any real situation where there's some sort of mass exodus to Mixer.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. Yeah. Not in viewership, not in streamers, not in market share, not in monetization. Like Twitch has just established themselves in so many ways as the fucking king, and I just can't see it. Twitch is, I've said it before, Twitch is just way bigger than any individual streamer on the platform, even Ninja.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah.
So
it is.
I think if anything, this is Twitch's like it's not a wake up call, because they've been expanding and improving the platform. But I think if anything, this is only going to make Twitch attempt to improve even more and throw some more money at things to get things in a better position faster, just to keep their throne essentially. And so I think this move essentially was like for a small wake up call, we'll call it, for Twitch to be like, yeah, we're going to go ham on this, and we're going to come out with all these things where it won't even matter. You're going to be Mixer what in 3 years is the plan. But I think Microsoft's establishing themselves as a competitor. I think it's still going to be around. I think like it's not going to. I think it's going to grow, but I think Twitch is still going to be the #1 platform, and it's going to have been much improved. And we're going to probably see a lot of similarities between Mixer and Twitch at that point, where the platforms have very similar features, but Twitch is probably going to end up being more polished and just more refined due to its age and experience. Once they start poaching employees, that might be a different story.
That's a story I want to read. That's going to be a hot double scoop.
That'd be like actually more interesting. Like if you have like Pluto, if they like snag like Pluto and Sinister, it would be different for people. And that's one thing Twitch has really been really good on. They don't get rid of the guys that interact with us. Right. They don't, you know what I mean? They keep those guys around. I hope they pay. I hope Pluto every month. I hope Pluto every year goes back and is like, God, pay me more, bro. You know, like if not, you know, he's like, I got Summit's here, I got Soda Poppin's here. You know, you got to pay me more. So
that's the thing too. Is like charity streams on Mixer. #1, I don't know of any. #2, like Twitch works. They have an entire charity division for that sort of stuff. And so for Mixer to continue to take from these large events like GDQs, Mixer's gonna need something like that, and like Microsoft could just be like, "Hey, GDQ, come to us. We'll give you $5 million," and then whatever you raise during that event. So like, that's like, yeah, let's do it. Like, would they do it though? I mean, that's $5 million for charity, but at the same time,
that'd be interesting. Like if they went to something like GDQ,
yeah.
How would the speedrunning community like go about it? You know, like it's so there's so many layers to what they can do, and I'm here for it. Like I'm excited for it. I definitely know one thing: it's going to get crazier.
Yeah.
Before it calms down. You know what I mean? Like I think if we saw one thing, this is Mixer saying, "Yo, we're gonna make a run at it. Yeah. We're gonna make a run at it." So
giving it the old American try.
The old capitalistic try, baby.
Yeah. All right.
But if you can't beat them, buy it up.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Amazon can help. Amazon can compete against Microsoft. This is actually Amazon's wake up call for Twitch.
What if this is like, you know, like this is the way that Amazon and Microsoft actually like kind of finally go head to head is through Mixer and Twitch. Like and the people who benefit are nerds playing video games. Like we're the ones who actually get to benefit. World
it'll be.
Yeah. Oh, that's so strange. Yeah. Man, all right. I think this is gonna be the longest episode yet.
It's gonna be damn close.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Don't forget to get us. We are on Twitter at Warp World. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. That's Warp World again. And
mixer.com/Warp World, actually.
Not true.
And
true.
We do have it though.
Oh, good. Yes. Well, for when we're offered our millions of dollars.
Yeah. Just you know, it's in our pocket.
And of course, lastly, don't forget that we do record these live every Thursday when we can. on the Warp World staff channel on Twitch, actually, for now, at the very least.
Yeah, we don't have Warp World on Twitch, but we have Warp World
Twitch,
staff.
yeah, you want to keep us. You want to keep us, Twitch. You better give us that name. Just saying.
All right, have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Peace. That was a good episode.